What up? What up? What's up? Boy, oh boy. What up? What up, y'all? It's Akil McLeod back with another video. Your boy is feeling tired today, right now, as you guys can see, but I told myself I'm gonna stay doing these live shows because I enjoy doing it, and you guys enjoy getting this type of information as well. So I'm gonna be on here as long as you guys have some solid questions. And for those that are just gonna start trickling in, I do these live shows every Thursday, Mountain Standard Time. It's the same time as West Coast time right now. And for the most part, I just like to treat this like office hours. Stay here for about an hour. I might go a little longer, but any question that you guys may have, just feel free, go ahead and ask. And like I said, I might stay on here a little longer, but we'll see. So we got a couple people in here already. We got Keenan, that's my man over here. What's going on? Lifting shoes while watching. That's what's up. You got to get the work done while you learning a little more information. So like I said, if you guys have any questions, I know a lot of stuff has been going on lately. We're going to cover a bunch of different topics. I'm sure some people are going to be asking about eBay's managed payments. For those of, I think it's the 16th now. So if you didn't sign up already, I think everything was going to start going into effect yesterday. But someone from eBay actually called me on my phone, and it was somebody from England. And they were basically just asking me if I had any questions concerning managed payments, if I understood the process and everything like that. And it was cool to have that like one-on-one type of conversation with someone from eBay. So that was dope. I'm not sure if everyone else is getting that same type of treatment, because I know sometimes people call, like for me in particular, sometimes I might call eBay and I might have to wait online for 5, 6, 7 I'm about to say hours, but sometimes 30, 40 minutes before I even speak to somebody. And then other times it might be 5 or 6 minutes and I'm good to go. So let me know if you guys have signed up for eBay's managed payments. I know at this point we kind of forced to do it. They were using somewhat like a pilot group at first, and now they're going more with just basically everyone has to do it. So we got some people in here. Yo, what's going on? Paces 305, what's going on? Keenan says pirate ship has been a great tool. Thanks for the tip. That's what's up. Pirate ship needs to sponsor all of my videos from now on, because for a minute I felt like every one of my what sold videos, I constantly was like just giving praise to pirate ship. And since I've been doing this YouTube channel, I haven't worked with any sponsors or had any sponsored content or anything like that. That's mainly more for my Instagram. But it's good that everything has been staying organic, and people that have been using pirate ship, they really do enjoy it. And for me, that's what it's all about. I think it's just trying to share the helpful information, the little tidbits that I've learned along the way, share it with you guys so you guys can basically learn, kind of learn from my mistakes and learn from the things that's working for me. Let's see. We got Joe B in the chat. What's going on, Joe? Can you make deals at Adidas outlets or are managers not willing? I've never tried to make a deal at outlets and stuff like that. I know some people they build relationships. Usually it happens organically. Sometimes they start paying these managers to kind of give them first dibs on stuff. I've never really taken that route, at least not yet, because I don't, I just don't really see the need to do that type of stuff. But I'm sure you speak to the right manager, depending on what city you in, depending on how cool they are, they might give you a deal just because. But I mean, we'll see. Ravens for life, what's going on, bro? I haven't received anything about eBay managed payments. If you got an eBay store, I know for a fact in the Seller Hub, they've been really just promoting eBay managed payments. And I've been watching some more content, because not to say I was ignorant to the whole eBay managed payment stuff, but I know for a fact that I didn't know as much as I probably should. I basically just read everything eBay had, and I watched what people were talking about online. And for the most part, it does seem like you should be saving some money on fees. That was one thing that the person that I spoke that actually called me, that's one thing that they told me. We wouldn't have to pay that 2.9% plus the 30 cents that we usually would pay to PayPal. We don't have to pay that. So we should be saving some money on fees. In terms of the money being transferred to your bank account and stuff like that, I think they said we can either do it daily, weekly, or monthly. So for me, I know I'm probably going to just choose the daily option. That way I can always have access to those funds. And just in case sometimes, glitches do happen, I just want to make sure I do it daily. That way I can have some consistent cash flow going into my account. So that's basically like the biggest, I guess, chunks of information. Just knowing that we're going to be saving money on fees. No more dealing with PayPal to a certain degree. They did say any purchases that happened prior to everyone moving over to managed payments, you're still going to have to deal with PayPal. So for instance, if someone wants to open a return on a purchase that they've made via PayPal, you're still going to have to go through PayPal to handle some of those things. So it's going to take a while until everything is solely just on eBay. So, I mean, I'll continue to provide you guys with any information, share any experiences that come along my way. I know anything that I've been selling over these past couple of days, between yesterday and today, it's still hitting my PayPal account. So I don't think managed payments have gone into effect just yet. When I spoke to the person on the phone, he did say, I asked him when exactly is it going to go into effect, because I know the deadline was July 15th, and he told me that it's going to be, the plan was for the 15th, they pushed it back to the 18th, and he was saying that from there it might be up in the air. He's not 100% sure. He was just really calling me to make sure if I had any questions concerning anything. So that's all I got in terms of like eBay's managed payments. I used my bank account, and I signed up using my business bank account. I didn't want to use any personal bank account or anything like that. That way I can completely have my business and my personal stuff completely separate. So, and the other last thing that I do remember we discussed was the fact that anything that you definitely need to have a social security number or an EIN. I think I might be able to get away with just using an EIN number if you have your business as a LLC. But I do know for a fact he did say a lot of us are using our sole proprietors when we sell on eBay. And he did say you needed a social security number. So that might deter some people that, might be immigrants and they don't have a social security number. But if you do have an EIN, I think there might be some ways to get around that. So shout out to the immigrants out there. I'm one of them. Shout out. All right, so let's see. Hi, Akil. Did you say eBay has the same payment like Poshmark and Mercari? So that's the plan. That's what managed payments are going to be. It's going to be very similar to how Poshmark and Mercari automatically deduct the fees and then they pay you out immediately. I'm not exactly sure on this one. If anybody else knows, drop it in the comments. But I do think you will get the funds to you immediately. And if there's any say returns or any request or if anybody was to open a case against you, I think those funds will be put on hold. But I do think the funds will be getting released immediately, just like Poshmark and Mercari. What's going on, Mr. Save a Buck? How you living? Bonzella Riggs, good evening to you too, and thanks again for purchasing one of these shirts, the consistency shirts. I definitely do appreciate you for picking this up. I shipped it out already, so I hope you got it in the mail. I definitely just wanted to thank you again for purchasing one of these shirts. Reselling shoes is a game for kids 15 and under at this point, in my opinion. I mean, there's kids doing it, and I think it should be encouraging to adults to know that kids are doing it and they're doing it at a major level. Seeing my only I guess critiques to a lot of these kids that's doing it, they're not necessarily making huge profits. Some are absolutely making huge profits, but I've seen a lot of kids at like SneakerCon, and I say kids because I'm 30 at this point, like 15, and I'm seeing these kids selling $300 shoes, and they may have bought it for $220. Or not even, they might have sold the shoes for $300 and bought the shoes for $280. So they're making $20 profits, but they're investing a lot of money. So as kids, they don't have the responsibilities of adults. They don't have the experience yet. So for them to be making money at a young age, I think it's dope. I think as they get older, they'll continue to refine their skills. But honestly, the fact that kids are able to make some decent money, because if you're doing volume and you're making $20 a shoe every time you make a sale, that can still be good money. And a lot of it is just cash. They go to these SneakerCon events and Complex Con and all these places where you can buy, trade, sell shoes, all these type of events, and they're doing all cash. No one's really paying with credit cards and stuff like that. So by paying all cash, you can do a lot with that too. So Shout out to them. Kevin P, what's going on? Under managed payments, how do refunds work? Do you have to have the same? Do you have to have some money in that managed payment account, or do they debit your bank account? So one thing that they did say is that with refunds and anything like that, it'll come out of that account that you have. So I believe very similar to PayPal. If you want to send a refund, you should have that money in your account. Whichever account you have linked, you should have some funds in there, and we will still get charged like the eBay store fee. If you have the eBay store fee, if you use promoted listings, we're still going to get a bill at the end of the month. The good thing is it's not going to be like $1,000 or $1,200 $1,200 checks, not checks, but like requests that we have to pay. With those eBay fees, my eBay fees some month are insane. Sometimes it's way too much, but hopefully we won't have to deal with those. Because they'll be charging the fees from every payment. So we won't have a lump sum of fees to pay at the end of the month. Let's see. Have you ever found yourself spending more on merch than you're selling in a specific week? Absolutely. I found myself, if a deal is good, I'm going to double down and I'm going to spend a lot of money. If it runs into the profits for that month, it's fine. For me, I always view this more as a marathon. It's more as like a yearly thing. So I don't necessarily calculate profits per item. I usually do it by the month. So some months I might spend, 7,000 in inventory and I might not have made 7,000, or I might spend, 10,000 and I might not have made 10,000. So it's kind of tricky sometimes. Usually I've never spent way more, but some months it definitely does happen. Especially when I first got started, I was just trying to build up inventory. At this point, since 2020 I started, I don't think I've spent more than I've made. But last year, after just doing my taxes and stuff like that, I realized that I was basically putting myself in a position to where I can have a solid amount of inventory. And you got to spend money to make money, especially when you're reselling. So now I'm not doing that as often, but last year before that, I used to do that all the time, without a doubt. Let's see. Can you please explain eBay managed payments a little more, please? Not sure what it means. So basically what they're doing, they're cutting out the middleman. It's going to be no more PayPal, and everything is just going to be under one roof. eBay is going to handle the payment processing for us, and we won't have to pay that PayPal fee anymore. And yeah, that's basically it in a nutshell. You need social security to sell on eBay. Yeah, that's what they were saying. That's one thing that you need in order to register for managed payments. You needed to have a social security number. What's your take on eBay raising the store limits? Is it a good or bad thing? I think it's a good thing because what was happening to me earlier on is that when I first started making some decent sales like monthly, I realized I didn't even request it, but they just send me an email and say, "Oh, your store limit has increased. The value of the amount of sales that you can have, the amount of money that you can earn has increased." So I guess there's like a cap every month to the amount of money that you can earn. And if you realize that you're making a ton of money and you're about to hit that limit, you can always call and make a request. But I realized that they were just adding, increasing my store limit as the business started to grow. So for me, I think it's a good thing. I don't necessarily see any downsides to it, but I mean, I could be wrong. But for me, I think everything is all good. Good evening, everyone. Good evening to you too. Let's see. Have you ever ran into Vero parallel import policy on selling Nikes outside the U.S.? Absolutely not. I don't even know what that is. I'm familiar with Vero. I know Vero is that list on eBay. It's the list of brands that you can't necessarily sell, but so many brands are on that list that you can and can't sell, but people still sell it anyway. So it's tricky. It really just depends on if they have like somebody basically scouring the internet, making sure that people aren't selling their particular brands. I know one thing that's on the Vero list that a lot of people sell is like North Face. And I remember I had got flagged one time for trying to sell a brand new North Face jacket because you can't sell it brand new. You can sell it used all day, but brand new, it's on the Vero list, and I got flagged once. I think that was in 2017 that happened to me. So I'm familiar with Vero, but the selling outside the US. I didn't even know that was a thing. That's crazy. Let's see, Raven's Life. I'm 15, started reselling about 2 months ago. I've made about 400 in profit. That's what's up. If I was making $400 when I was 15, I'd be killing it. I had a little part-time job when I was 15, but I know I was making maybe $100 a week, if that. So shout out to you. How many sales do you average a day, would you say? How much do you have in inventory roughly to average that much? For shoes mainly. Thanks for the value and content, brother. Yeah, no doubt. Thank you. How many sales on average? I make just maybe anywhere between 10 and 15 sales a day. Sometimes it's a little less. Like a couple days ago, I only had one sale, so that was rough. But anywhere between 10 and 15. What was the other question? How much do you have in inventory roughly to average that amount? I got about 500 active like items on there right now, but I have a lot of like the same SKUs. So I have a lot of the same shoes, just in different sizes. So that's what kind of helps me push a lot of stuff. And I don't waste a ton of time listing a whole bunch of items, a lot of one-of-ones like I used to when I was doing a lot of thrift store shopping. So that's what works for me. But it's all about, I hate when people ask those type of questions, basically saying like, how much items do you need to have to average a certain number of sales? Only because it just depends on what items you have. If you have desirable like items that people are constantly searching for, you can have just 2 or 3 things in your store and you can have tons of sales every day. You know what I mean? So it's kind of tricky with that, but definitely for sure, just make sure that you have desirable items and you're not taking too many risks with items that are kind of long tail. You definitely want to have a mix of stuff that sells fast, but also some stuff that you might have to wait a couple months until you make that money. But when you do make the money, it's big profit. So I always suggest people have a mix. Let's see. I learned about it and did research about half a year ago. Well, yeah. So you got into the game very young, but you clearly you seem like somebody that's vigilant and does the research ahead of and does the research before you jump into stuff. So that's probably a big reason why you're killing the game. And plus you watch all my content. Like you're on YouTube, you're always in the comment section, huge supporter. So you learning the gems that a lot of people probably either pass up on, or the things that people make mistakes later on as they're going. But if you're on YouTube constantly and you're watching myself and other reseller channels, you should be good to go. Let's see. Are you on managed payments right now? When will they make it mandatory? So I've heard they were supposed to make it mandatory on the 15th. Then when they called me on the 18th, the guy said, no, when he called me, he said everything would be moved over on the 18th. So if it doesn't move everything on the 18th, I mean, it's up in the air at that point. But I signed up, but nothing has changed. When I go into my seller hub, it still says you're on the list, meaning that you're registered, but everything isn't finalized yet. So every payment that I've been receiving from all the orders I've been making over the past couple of days have still been going straight to PayPal. So shout out to all the amazing immigrant-owned small businesses. I'm proudly a child of an immigrant, me as myself as well. What business license do you recommend to small resellers starting out? Is LLC best? Oh, Maggie Ho, shout out to you. You copped the shirt as well. As soon as I saw the name, shout out to you. You hit me up on the gram. Thank you very much for the support. I definitely appreciate it. But yeah, like you said, shout out to all the amazing immigrant small business owners, because I'm a child of an immigrant myself. So when it comes to the resale license, if you want to do things like say wholesale items, like if you wanted to do I'll give you an example because this pertains to me, so I can like remember it off the top of my head. So when I was thinking of doing the merch, I wanted to find like quality t-shirts. I didn't want to do like the Gildan t-shirts that you can get from Walmart for a couple bucks. I wanted like good quality shirts that I know I could wear forever, because I'll wear these same t-shirts all the time. So you got it to buy the shirts wholesale, you needed a wholesale license. Every state is different. So if you wanted to do something like that, where you was buying a bunch of t-shirts or anything wholesale, some places require that. If you're just going to be doing thrifting and stuff like that, you don't necessarily need a license for any of that type of stuff. However, in terms of the LLC, S Corp, C Corp, all those different options, or you can just be a sole proprietor. if you just want to run your business as a sole proprietor, you don't need an LLC. You don't need any licenses for that. You can just do business online as a sole proprietor and you'll be just fine. However, if you do want to start separating your business from your personal assets, that's when you can jump in and get an LLC or get an S corp and start paying yourself monthly. It's some different variables about it, but I think that's the best way I can kind of explain it in a nutshell. Let's see. I have a buyer who wanted to return an item, but it was after 30 days. Do I still have to accept his return because I didn't, as it was more than 30 days? Yeah, I don't. The policy is 30 days. The tricky thing is, it's 30 days after the buyer receives it. So it might be 30 days and say you shipped it out 30 days ago, but the buyer received it 4 or 5 days after you shipped it out. I think they start the clock from the time the buyer receives it. So that was one thing that was a little tricky for me that I ran into a couple times. But after the 30 days mark, I don't accept returns because usually it could mean anything. They could have worn it, or they could have like technically tried to rent it and just wore whatever it was and then try to return it. So no, the policy is clear. 30-day returns. I think some people do 60-day returns. I stick to 30 and you'll be just fine. They could try to open a case against you if they want. They can like complain with eBay, but as long as you did what you were supposed to do and the item is as described, you don't have to accept it. Let's see. Mr. Save a Buck, Akil, will you ever record a day in the life of Akil video? Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna definitely get that done. Absolutely. I remember people asking for those type of videos earlier on when the channel was still really small, but I think now I don't do much within my day. I'm like really just working and like cracking jokes with my wife, but I'm gonna try to record one of those and just get it done. Let's see. Do you know when the Ross clearance sale starts? Usually starts in July, but with stores being closed from COVID, I'm assuming it'll start next month. It already started. I've been going to Ross these past couple of days, buying up a bunch of stuff that's on clearance. I didn't record too much in the store. I think I got some footage that I might make a video with, but I know I really haven't been recording too much lately in stores because it's been so busy. Like when I don't try to record when the stores are really busy and stuff like that, only because it's like, for me, it's uncomfortable. It's too much people around. But the sales have already started. I went to 3 different Rosses and I've been grabbing up a bunch of clearance shoes. Now, none of these shoes are going to be big ticket items. They're not going to sell really fast. A lot of them are football cleats. Some are baseball cleats. The big difference this time around, though, is that I'm not like trying to get size 18 shoes and size 16 shoes that sit for a very long time. I was trying to find like some normal sizes and even some smaller kid sizes and like baseball cleats, because I do know baseball season, even though it's weird in certain states, I know some states have started to play outdoor sports again. So I started picking up some cleats and some stuff like that. But the Ross sales have started, so go out there and get it. Let's see. Thanks for showing inventory, especially the shoes. Inventory pickups, especially the shoes. I started picking up and selling more and more new attack shoes since thrift stores are charging crazy prices on used shoes. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I stopped going to Savers and Goodwill because the prices have been so expensive, and I found myself complaining and getting all worked up anytime I go to some of these stores. I'll literally just be pissed off. So I just stopped going and I just stopped spending my money with places like Goodwill and Savers because I was just tired of it. So now the thrift store, the few little local thrift stores that I go to, even they're starting to charge a lot more for some shoes, because across the board, I just feel like shoes are so trendy now. So even thrift stores, the smaller ones that are not as money hungry as Goodwill, they're still charging a little more. So you still just got to know which shoes to pick up. It's all about having the knowledge and knowing what styles sell really well, because you can always go into a thrift and pick up some, some cheap stuff, but you still got to know what shoes will do well. So I'm glad that you are gaining some knowledge from these videos. So that's what I'm doing it for. Okay, wait, now because they won't use PayPal, doesn't that mean there won't be any PayPal scams anymore? No, trust me, there's going to be scams on everything. There's always going to be scams. These scammers just always find a way to still scam. So there's always going to be some. By next year, we're going to be discussing some whole different scam, and it's terrible, but at least one scam will be done with, at least. Let's see. Quick question. If I'm going to ship shoes, I can't ship them double box with pirate ship. Does it only have to be shipped in a bag? You can ship it, double boxed, but you will save money if the box is in a bag. That box in a bag option is the cheapest option. If you were to ship the box regular without a bag over it, you'll see the rates are way, way, way higher. And I don't know exactly what that is. I know Pirate Ship uses cubic rate shipping, so I think the bag makes it cubic rate instead of like a typical really big box or anything like that. But got to use that bag in a box option to save the money. Let's see, is there a program that helps cut time between taking pictures and listing the items? Sometimes I see myself taking hours to take pictures of all angles and post all items. I don't got any programs or anything like that. For me, I just kind of narrowed it down to a science. And that was also a really big reason as to why I stopped selling clothing as much, because when you're selling clothing, I used to hear a lot of other resellers say they don't sell clothing anymore. But at the time I was in Santa Barbara, so the clothing I was getting was amazing. I was getting Lululemon and Gymshark for $2 and $3 all the time, Patagonia every day. So I used to be killing it when it came to clothing. However, I didn't dawn on me until later on when I realized why people stopped selling clothing is because the steaming that you might have to do, washing clothes, checking for stains, taking measurements, sometimes putting it on and off of a mannequin. In terms of time, it can be very, very time consuming. And if you're dealing with small margins, you can almost feel yourself like losing money because your time should be worth more. So you can almost find yourself losing money. But for me, that's why I started selling shoes more, because it's just 8 pictures, the 8 pictures that I take. And I've literally just got it down to a science where every angle, it's almost like super robotic with how I take the pictures. So once you kind of narrow down a system where you're selling very similar items, you can kind of make your whole program, you can turn your process into systems. And I couldn't really make it a system with clothing. It just took too much time. So, I mean, it is what it is. I know some people still sell clothing and they're killing it. For me, I just know it's not part of my business model anymore. Let's see, 36 people watching the live. Give the brother 36. Yes, please, thumbs up. Please hit the like button. That definitely goes a very long way. Let's see, I'm still stuck on maybe 1 to 2 sales a day. I mean, that's how it was for me in the beginning as well. I remember when I quit my job and I was just selling stuff from my house and doing some more thrifting. I was going days without making a sale. And when I did make a sale, I would be super hyped. And then it might be another few days until I made some more consistent money. It took a while until I started being seeing more consistent sales. So give it some time. Just continue to invest in the inventory, because as long as you're selling good stuff, the sales will come. In the beginning, if you're doing clothing or if you're doing used items, it could be kind of tricky. And it's just a lot of learning taking place. There's no losses. It's just a lot of learning taking place. So the longer you in it, the better off you'll be. Let's see, when you buy from some liquidators or wholesalers, they'll specify which brands you have to delabel because specific brands can only be sold in certain regions. See, I haven't done too much wholesale or liquidation stuff. I've done one wholesale order with I forgot, Honcho Wholesale. They shipped me out a box and we did it that way. But I've never came across like a delabeling or anything like that. But it does make sense because I know with eBay and their Referral program, certain brands you can't sell. You know what I mean? You'll instantly get flagged. So that does make sense. Shout out to David. What's going on? Let's see. Maggie Hall, of course, love my new shirt and wearing it proudly. That's what's up. Thank you again. Carlos Guerrero, hello. Do you have any insight on any differences in selling to men versus women? I mean, not really. The experiences I've come into, I feel like women tend to pay for items. It's weird. So if it's a men's item and a woman, and it's a female buyer, like it's a woman buying it, I see them really just buying the item. It's usually no offers, it's no messaging, it's no nothing. Sometimes when I'm selling on eBay, I could not even I'm not accepting offers on 90% of the items in my store. And it'll usually be a guy sending me a message on an item that I'm not accepting offers, and they'll still ask, here, can I send you an offer? Or will you take less? So drop a comment if that happens to you. But that's one thing that I've seen in terms of like differences. Women usually just buy it. Guys try to get deals. And I'm pretty sure if I was selling women's clothing, I would probably get those messages from women as well. But that's just the only differences that I've really seen for the most part. Let's see. Question: I have a teen. I would like to get started in reselling with a startup of $500. What route would you go as far as finding inventory, products to sell, etc.? I always tell people start with whatever you got at first. Start whatever you have in the house. That's always the best and easiest way to do it, because everybody has stuff we're not using, whether it's old electronics, whether it's old clothes, whether it's shoes. Everybody got stuff that we're not using. So definitely start there. Outside of that, I'll probably start hitting up garage sales, thrift stores. Start cheap, start making small investments, and then just letting the profits snowball, and then start diving into bigger stuff. Retail arbitrage, just starting out, kind of tough. Same thing with online arbitrage. I would say it's kind of tough because it's usually more of a monetary investment. So if you was to use that 500 and hit up a few garage sales, hit up a few thrift stores, and continue watching reseller content so you know what to find, I think you could easily make that 500 into 1,000 relatively easily if you start with something, start with smaller investments. So try doing that. Let's see. I'm adding a t-shirt and handmade items to my business, so I need a wholesale license too. Thanks so much for the info. Yeah, so that's going to be super important, because if you're getting t-shirts wholesale, you'll be able to get them for a much better price, as opposed to picking them up from Walmart or Target or places like that. And the other good thing about having the wholesale license is that I think you save money on taxes. I think you don't pay taxes until after everything. I don't think you pay taxes on the stuff you're buying. Correct me if I'm wrong, anybody in the comments, but I think once you have those wholesale licenses, you don't pay tax up front. You usually pay it later on once the item is already sold. Okay, Yolanda Marshall, I have only 60 listings, but I don't have a store. Would you recommend that I get a store on eBay? So I know the limit is 50. So with having only 60 listings, I probably wouldn't get a store right away. And once you start revving up your inventory, and once you reach maybe 75 to 100, you probably start seeing some significant savings. But I think right now you probably don't need an eBay store. I know they do have that basic eBay store option, so you might want to look at that. But as of right now, I don't think you necessarily need a store. Let's see. A question about income tax. Bro, I'm not the man for that. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not the one. If I buy a shoe for $20 and sell it for $60, does tax come into play? Oh, you need water? You got your baby? I got the water, yeah. All right, let's see. A question about income tax. If I buy a shoe for $20 and sell it for $60, does tax come into play on the $60 sale price, or after fees ship? Yeah, so after fees, shipping, cost of goods, all of those things that you just talked about are deductions. So you're paying taxes on the net profit. So all of those things, the fees, the shipping, the cost of goods, that's all deductions, and whatever profit you get is what you're getting taxed on. What's going on, Kicks Griffey? How you doing? Let's see. Yeah, the shirts are super comfy and made very well. Thank you very much. You see, I'm wearing them in every video. These are my joints now. I'm wearing these all the time. Thank you. Let's see. I've seen content creators say that although you don't have to share your items on Poshmark, you still need to at least edit items daily to get visibility. It's not set it and forget it on eBay. That's true. Midnight Love. Oh, you caught the shirt too. Thank you. Shout out to you. I definitely appreciate that. So yeah, for me, I try to keep the store active. So that might mean listing certain items. You might go into your store if you don't have anything fresh to relist. You might just want to change up some titles, change up your pictures. You just want to show activity in your store. So to a certain degree, you can say it is set it and forget it, especially if you're using promoted listings, because they're pushing it and they want the item to get sold. So in some cases, you can set it and forget it depending on the item. But if you're dealing with like items that are very competitive, or certain brands that are very competitive, you might want to have to, constantly go in there and adjust your store and stuff like that. So it is true. I think it is true to a certain degree. We got Tanya in here. Tanya, what's going on? How you doing? Let's see. Tech Source. This might be a hard question to answer, but what do you think about the ethics of reselling? For example, do you think it's ethical to resell items from thrift stores when other poor people can use it? I mean, I'm not gonna say that's a hard question. It's an easy question for me. I've been reselling stuff from thrift stores and garage sales and stuff like that for years. The ethical part of it's a lot of it could be tricky. It could be sensitive for some people. I don't view it as like an ethical thing though. It's one of those things. If somebody wanted to buy the item, if they got there before me, they could have bought it. If I got there before them, that just means I got there first. I don't really see it like I'm taking it away or I'm taking an opportunity from somebody else. I don't view it that way. I mean, drop a comment, everybody else in the chat, if y'all view it as an ethical thing. But for me, I don't view it like that. It's one of those things where, you know, if I'm in the store and it's available for me to purchase it, I'm going to purchase it and I'm going to flip it and make the money. Simple as that. Let's see. What size poly mailers were you using for the bag in a box? I believe it's a 19 by 14 and a half bag. Pretty large bag, but you can always get bigger bags. Like if you're shipping out large items, you might even want to get a bigger bag just to be safe. Let's see. Yolanda Rouse talking to Pacer 305, giving him some tips. Just break it down to batches. Do a batch of 10 shirts, shoes, etc., and that will help. Yeah, that's good advice. Let's see. Julio Franco, thank you for all the awesome content and tips. Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's see. What do you use to track inventory sales and incoming purchases? Seeing if there's a better alternative to manually putting it into spreadsheets. I just use a spreadsheet. I just do it. I try to make sure I update it once a month, but I haven't seen anything, any like good services or anything like that I can use. But I just use I was gonna say Excel, but I use Pages because I have a MacBook, so I just use the Pages that it comes with. Let's see. Vegas on the Strip. Keep up the good work, brother. Thank you. I got more on the way. Let's see. Have you tried selling shoes on GOAT or StockX? No, I have not, and especially not StockX. StockX they're charging fees to buyers now, so I don't even want to be a part of that. If anything, I might do GOAT, but StockX is out. Let's see. Just purchased the shirt. Can't wait to get it, and I'm happy to support. Thank you for the vids and the lives. That's what's up. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm glad people are rocking with the shirts. Like I know this is different because I'm a reseller, so I like to buy stuff and flip it. So this is the first thing that I've ever like put out myself with like an idea or a concept that I made. So the fact that people are rocking with it, y'all don't even know how much that means to me, because I know it's easy to sell Nike and Adidas. They're huge multi-billion-dollar corporations with marketing behind it. But for me to put out some shirts and people rocking with it, man, y'all don't understand. I love it. Thank you. I can't say it enough. I know people be acting all cool, like, oh yeah, I'm selling merch and I'm getting money. Like, nah, y'all don't get it. Like, this is dope for me. I love it. All right, let's see. Jacqueline Coleman with the cat in the thumbnail. It's opposite for me. Women ask so many questions, but guys know what they want and just buy it outright. See, that's the thing. Guys know what they want, but guys, at least the guys that come to my store, they just always want a deal. And don't get me wrong, I'm one of those people myself. I love a good deal. I'm always on the hunt for a deal, but lately I'm always getting people sending me a message and asking if I'll take less. Sometimes I ignore it, sometimes I oblige and I'll accept the offer. That actually happened today. I shot a what sold video today, so you guys will be seeing that tomorrow. And one of the shoes I sold was $130. They sent me an offer for $110, but they messaged me the offer and I wasn't accepting offers, so I still accepted it and it worked out. But it's just weird, because when I was selling more clothing, especially on Poshmark, I used to have women asking me for very particular measurements. They didn't know I was a guy, so I would even have messages asking people asking me, can I model it for them? So those type of stuff was weird, but I don't sell a lot of women stuff, so I don't have a lot of women buyers. You know, I don't have a lot of customers like that, so I guess it's all different. Let's see. Akila, it's super funny that you said that about men versus women. I was just speaking on that this morning, and I said the same thing. Yeah, man, it's tricky because we like to save money, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I know I try to get a deal any chance I get. But if I see the person isn't accepting offers, I don't ever think to send a message still, because I know it'll be annoying. Let's see. Cash flow will be a problem when dealing with RA and OA. Yeah. That I'm pretty sure you're referring to the person um, with the $500 investment. That's why I just suggested for them to go ahead and do garage sales, thrift stores, and just starting with their own items, because retail arbitrage can get very expensive. I spend a lot of money when I go to Ross and Burlington and these outlets, but I'm at a different stage now. So if I was starting at $500, man, I would be penny pinching. And that's why I think it's just easy to start with the stuff that you got. We got a super chat in here. Shout out to, let me see who, Julio Franco. Oh, that's what's up. Julio Franco, you and your wife are the best looking reselling couple on YouTube. You guys bumped Rally Roots. Oh, man. I love Rally Roots. Shout out to them. But thank you very much. Let's see. Has there ever been, oh no, wait, let's see. We got another question from Deb Elliott. Let's see. Akil, do you have any suggestions on an Android phone or tablet that has a great camera? I don't want an iPhone or camera for my photos. I'm sorry, I don't know. I'm not a Samsung guy, but I heard that that Galaxy, like whatever's the newest Galaxy and one of those like Google phones, like the Google Pixel, people say it's really good cameras, and the Galaxies are really good, but I'm an Apple person all day. They got me in that ecosystem, so it's kind of hard to get out. Has there ever seen an item? Have you ever seen an item that you like and there's four of them and you take them all so you have less competition online? That's actually pretty smart, but I usually don't do. I mean, if it's a good deal, I'll grab all four because I'll be happy. But sometimes if it's like a weird size, or if it's like a dirty shoe, or if it's a stain, something's wrong with it, I'll leave that one behind. But there's definitely been times that I grabbed up everything, but I didn't even do it with the idea of, oh, let me make sure I take them all so I have no competition. I'm also grabbing them all so I can sell them all. You know what I mean? But that's definitely a good way to look at it. Let's see. For me, women will ask a lot of questions, and men will try and get every dollar they can off an item, except fourth quarter when it's a gift, then they just buy. Yeah, that's a fact. Fourth quarter, people just shop. Everything is a gift. People buy stuff for themselves, so they're willing to spend more on themselves. I'm banking on this fourth quarter to be huge, only because the first half of the year has been kind of messed up with quarantine and all those type of things. But I'm really banking on the basically third and fourth quarter. I'm really hoping that it picks up even more, because I didn't necessarily experience slow sales, but for a fact, I know I probably would have been seeing even more sales if the world wasn't in this situation that it's in. So fourth quarter, I'm looking forward to it. Let's see. How much sourcing do you do online versus in store? Example, 5% online. Yeah, online. Well, I source on Poshmark, but I don't even do that as often as I used to. So it probably is 5% online sourcing. I don't do a lot of liquidation and all those type of stuff. So a lot of my stuff is in store. Let's see. Just to follow up on my income tax question, how do you show deductions, like how much you paid for an item you sell? Okay, yeah, so you're getting into more like technical stuff in terms of deductions and all those types of things. But if you're a sole proprietor and you're looking for different write-offs, there's so many different things that can be a write-off. So you definitely just want to hit up a tax professional, because like I said earlier, I'm not a tax pro at all. I got a CPA, and I'm actually going to see one tomorrow as well to kind of finalize some things. But I'm not the tax guy at all. I don't even want to give you no bad information, bro. I'm sorry. I don't even want to tell you something and get you in trouble. Let's see. Not an ethical thing. First come, first serve. I know rich people that thrift because they're frugal and don't want to pay full retail for items they can get at the thrift. Absolutely. When I was in Santa Barbara, it's a very wealthy community, very wealthy city. The thrift was full of those people. Like everybody is in there. So people was going to the Goodwill often to save money. So I'm right there with you. Definitely not an ethical problem for me at all. Picking Vegas and beyond. What's going on? Let's see. The only thing about reselling that is a sticking point for me is when resellers charge new prices for used things. $30 for a pair of Levi's that are washed and worn all to hell. So that's the tricky part, because especially as you say, Levi's, I've seen very distressed, very like ratty looking Levi's, but they might be vintage. They might be the big E Levi's that sell for a ton of money. They might be salvage denim. So people get away with selling certain items that are, deemed vintage or kind of rare. They can get away with selling more. But I'm right there with you, because I see a lot of people selling trash and asking a huge amount of money for it, especially on Poshmark. I don't really scroll through stuff on eBay like that. eBay isn't like that type of system where you can see those type of things like that. But from just scrolling through brands on Poshmark, I'll see somebody selling a beat up old pair of running shoes that full of mud, but because it's Nike, they're pricing it super high. So I think what it is too is that a lot of people on Poshmark in particular, they price their items high so that when the offers come in, they can make it seem like they're giving the customer a good deal. But for me, I just don't like having to do that. I like to price my items as is. That way, if somebody sees something and they enjoy it and they want to pick it up, they just pick it up and they don't have to send an offer or anything like that. Let's see. Do you think it's a bad look taking pictures with items on the floor? No, I use my floor, but I keep my floor clean and I keep it clear with no like random stuff around it. The whole purpose of taking the pictures, you just want to let the buyer see exactly what they're getting. You don't want it to be a distracting background or anything like that. That's why so many people use white backgrounds for their stuff, because it's just a simple, clean background. But I take pictures on the floor all the time, just as long as it's a clean floor and you see the item good, but you good. Yes, the Google Pixel. Forgot about that. Thanks. Yeah, no doubt. Glad I could. You put me on to Rashawn. Yeah, Rashawn, that's my brother. He's the truth. He is the truth. He got some more music on the way. I can't wait for the states to open back up, to everything to be back so he could go on tour, but he's killing it. Google phone sucks. I have one and hate it. You should get an iPhone, bro. Get an iPhone. Let's see. There's too much excess in the world. Without resellers, our landfills will be much worse. We are actually doing the earth a favor and our customers by bringing the item to a marketplace for purchase. See, I like that. That's a very good way to look at it. I absolutely do think resellers are doing a service, because the thing is, we're the ones doing the picking. We're finding the deals. And even if I'm finding something, if I go to an outlet and I find a shoe that's $10 and I sell it for 60, that's still doing the buyer a favor and doing them a service, because I'm pricing it for 60. That doesn't mean they can find it in a store for 60. You know what I mean? We're kind of both doing people a service. So I do like that way of looking at it. Did you switch to eBay's new payments? I switched over, but they didn't go into effect yet. But I'm signed up. I'm on the list and I'm ready to go. Let's see. If you're willing to share, what do you use to record your videos at home while sourcing? Also to edit the videos. I got a Sony. I use the same videos, the same camera I use in stores. It's the same camera I'm using right now. This is a Sony A6000 and it's a Sigma 16 millimeter lens. And I do all my edits with iMovie. iMovie is your friend because it's free. Let's see. In your shoe photography vid, how are you using that old phone? I would love to have my personal phone back. The phone that I use, I actually got that from a friend. One of my friends has sent me her old phone because she wasn't using it anymore. It's an iPhone 6. So the camera on there is still really good quality. So that's what we've been using. I probably missed this, but have you switched to managed payments? Yeah, I just spoke about that. Let's see. Only for the winter because you feel like you was losing. It's called free market capitalism. If someone is willing to pay the price, then the price is right. It's a good point. Let's see. What's your percentage shoes clothes in your eBay store? Right now, the store is probably 80% shoes, 10% clothing, and the other 10% is hard goods like electronics and other random stuff that I find in the thrift. For me, just really honing in on shoes has really been really good for me in the business this year, because I didn't even realize it, but somebody earlier was talking about how much time they're spending listing items. And I didn't even realize, like, I realized it later on, of course, but I used to spend so much time on photographing clothing and just measuring stuff and having to clean it. all those types of things. I used to waste a lot of ironing, steaming. Like I used to waste a lot of time. And of course, I'm a person of like I want to make sure that the items I'm selling is in good shape. So I used to iron a lot. I used to steam just about everything. I would iron or wash just about everything. So it was definitely a lot of work being put into it. Let's see. Would you ever consider driving to a different state just to hit up all their Ross and Marshalls? I mean, I know Hustler Hacks does that. They do their different trips. I wouldn't mind doing that. I've done that before. Like when we were in San Diego and we went to a few different thrift stores and Ross out there. I've done that because if I'm on a vacation for a little while, for me, thrifting and just finding some deals, making money is like my hobby. So I'll always run into different stores and see what I can get. But I do that all the time. I probably would do some videos and stuff like that. That was actually the plan for this summer. We were supposed to be doing like a cross country trip. We was going to drive from Arizona to New York where my family is, and we was just going to thrift along the way. But of course, with COVID happening, we wasn't able to do that anymore. But probably next year, we might make that happen, do something like that. Let's see. I have the LSU Nike shoes for resale and I'm competitively priced, but they're not selling. I'm new to this. Should I return them or hold steady? It depends which shoes. You say LSU Nike shoes. It depends which shoe. I've seen some like Florida Gators. I think they were like free runs or stuff like that in Burlington. I know I wasn't necessarily picking them up, but I did sell some other I think they were Pegasus 35s and they had like the Arizona State logo by the heel. So I sell college schools, like college related things with logos on it, but it's a tough sell because it's like you're really only marketing to LSU fans or alumni or current students. And LSU is a big school, but at the end of the day, when you're dealing with a huge marketplace, you have a smaller audience that you're marketing to. So if you priced it to the point where you'll make some decent profit on it, I would say just wait until the right buyer comes. But if you're going to make just a small amount of profit, you might just want to return it and just let it go. What's the new eBay payment about? Basically, they're splitting ways with PayPal, so they're just everything is going to be under one roof with eBay right now. We're not going to have to go back and forth and ask questions, dealing with two different companies, and we won't have to pay PayPal fees. So that's a really good thing. Let's see. Thanks, Akil, for answering all my questions. I appreciate you, no doubt. Nick, and that was a lyric from Too Cool. Oh, that was a lyric. Let me see. Only for the winner because you felt like he was okay. See, that's not. I wasn't even thinking. I wasn't even thinking. Shout out to Rob. Let's see. Thanks to you as well. I have a starter store with about 300 listings. Would there be an advantage in switching to a basic store since eBay is giving free listings? I'm not sure if I think the starter store might give the same benefits. I'm not exactly sure, but I also have a basic eBay store. And the free listings, I'm pretty sure I got it. I didn't check, but I'm pretty sure I got it. I think they just extended it throughout July. And I like the fact that they're giving free listings. I would have preferred for them to like cut fees or, give some type of discount on fees. That would have been really beneficial. Or even if for those of us that use promoted listings, if they probably didn't charge you for promoted listings for a month or something like that, that would have been dope. But it is what it is. I'm still taking advantage of those free listings. Let's see. Have you ever run a flash sale? I'm curious to see how it would affect sales. I used to run sales on eBay like 2 years ago when I had a lot of clothing. So I would do like flash sales on certain brands, or if I had some items that were sitting for a while, I would put it on sale. Now I don't usually do sales because I price my items to sell. So say you're in a pinch and you need some cash, some liquid on deck right now, I would suggest probably doing a flash sale because items will sell once you slash the prices. You're definitely going to make some money. But I'm just a firm believer in just being patient, waiting for the right buyer to come along. I got some items in my store that I've been sitting on for 2 years now. Sometimes some items probably even longer, but the right buyer just didn't come along yet. So I'm a firm believer in just being patient, but I know that method doesn't work for everybody. Some people need that cash. So if you want, you can always just, run a sale. The good way to do a sale that I remember is that I would raise the price a little bit, then slash the price. That way, it's still a discount, but the buyer will see that it's like 20% off, even though realistically it might only be 5% or maybe 10%. So it's kind of like a mind game that you're kind of playing, because that buyer might not have seen the fact that your price was, different before. So just by them seeing that it's on sale, they might get, that trigger happy, and they might want to buy it really quickly. But that's all the questions I got. That's we've been on here for hours. I think that's it for the day. So thanks again for everybody watching the video today, and everybody that's been asking questions. I hope this was definitely helpful for you guys, and you guys got some value out of this. I'm gonna keep doing these videos, these live videos every Thursday, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Don't forget to hit that like button before you guys leave, because it definitely helps the channel grow. And I'm gonna see you guys. Oh, we got some more questions. All right, so let me stick around for 2 more minutes. Let's see. How are your days and weeks organized in how and when you buy, list, and ship? When it comes to the, let me get this question. How are your days and weeks organized? I shop every day. I go out and I try to find different stuff every day. My wife does a lot of the photographs. So when I bring home stuff, she gets them photographed, and I usually would do some listing. I try to spread my listing out throughout the week. That way it's some constant activity in the store. But I just try to do it that way, just so that I'm, like I said, constant activity in the store, and I'm not like overworking myself in a day. I just try to stretch it out. That's how I like to organize my day. But that's the last question for the day. So thanks again for everybody watching the video. Don't forget to hit the like button. I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Peace.